So recently I came across Fridman. He seems to have a very popular podcast on YouTube. And what I found really interesting was that at the end of his sessions with his guests, he seems to ask them all a specific question.
Without any serving it up, without any explanation, what is the meaning of life?
What is the meaning of life? He recently had Sam Harris on and he asked him the same question.
I think it's either the wrong question or that question is answered by paying sufficient attention to any present moment such that there's no basis upon which to pose that question.
Sam really struggled to provide anything as far as an answer was concerned. And some of his guests struggle, some of his guests give really, unique and different perspectives on the meaning of life, but there doesn't seem to be any coherence that emerges from this. Why is this the case? Well, the simple reason is that the question of meaning, the ultimate meaning of life, is not an empirical question, it's not a philosophical question. It's really a religious question. Why? Well, here's the reason. Because we didn't bring ourselves into existence. Even if you're an atheist, we know, we can acknowledge that we began to exist, we came into existence, and we die. And we didn't bring ourselves into existence, therefore the question of meaning can't come from ourselves. And in this case, there's two options. Either, if you take the type of atheist, naturalist perspective, we are just an accidental byproduct of nature. We weren't intended. We just came into existence by chance. If you take this view, well, then you have to acknowledge, as the existentialist philosophers had to acknowledge, that there is no ultimate meaning to life. And therefore asking that question is pointless. It's just, well, there is no ultimate meaning. If you're asking it from the perspective, what meaning have you given your life? Well, then that's a valid question. You can say, the meaning I've given my life is to be a doctor, to do charity work, and whatever else is the case. But to ask the question in a way where you're trying to almost get to the truth behind this, that's pointless. If you take the second perspective on this in regards to existence, you can say, well, I didn't come into existence by chance, but there's something, if you acknowledge that there's something, a conscious being that intentionally brought you into existence, well, then there potentially can be a meaning behind your existence. And in that case, still, the answer is not going to come from yourself. It's going to come from that being, that source. And this is why the human being, us humans ourselves, no matter whether we rely upon empiricism or philosophy, the question of the meaning of life, we can never answer that question. We can never get to the truth of the matter ourselves. Like I said, what they can do is, you can ask the question, what is the meaning you've given your life? And in that case, you can come up with your own meaning. And if it works for you, well, then it works for you. And I hope it does. But in most cases, we realize, well, essentially all we're doing is making things up. And that doesn't go down too well in the long term. So ultimately, if Lex and anyone else that really wants to get to the bottom of the question, what is the meaning of life? What is the ultimate meaning of our existence? Well, then we have to realize the answer is only going to come if we dare to venture into, looking into the realm of religion. It's not going to come from ourselves. So I leave you guys with this. Let me know your thoughts in the question section below. Until next time, take care.